Start by asking you a question. What do you think is your biggest asset? I bet you answered my home, or maybe you answered my home and investment property or properties. Well, that's only half right. What you really meant was the money you have invested in your home, or even more precisely, the money that you have tied up in your home after you take away any debts against the property, like a mortgage, for instance. That is really what you mean by your biggest asset, the cash you have in the home. Now, this is called your equity. It represents your wealth and your financial well-being. The good news about this equity is that as a rule over time it grows, and that makes us happy. More equity, more personal wealth. Now let me ask you another question. What do you think is the sensible and wise thing to do with this equity? Protect it or leave it exposed to risk where you could end up losing it? Silly question, of course. You, like everyone else, would want to protect it. Now you may be thinking, protect it from what? No one can get it because it's tied up in the house. Well, sadly, that's wrong. Your wealth is very much at risk. Why is your equity wealth at risk? Well, here's another few questions. Do you think the world is safe and stable? Are you aware just how quick people are to sue these days? Have you noticed the growth in the no-win, no-fee lawyer industry, encouraging people to get all they can at no risk to themselves? Also take a moment to think, do you know or have you heard of anyone who has faced financial hardship, forcing them to have to sell their home? The reality is that litigation is on the rise. We arguably live in the second most litigious country on earth. The odds of an Australian citizen facing some sort of litigation are very high. And in reality, most of us face some level of financial hardship during our lifetime. I will not bother to put the statistics up here, but just Google no-win, no-fee lawyer or search the stats for litigation and you'll find that it's quite shocking. So let's agree, there is a risk, with the bottom line being that if you have assets that are not protected, you're at risk because those assets contain your wealth. Do you think for one moment the financial elite in our society leave their assets unprotected and exposed to these risks? No, of course not. That is the reason why they are successful and wealthy. The foundation of financial success is today, and has always been, not just wealth creation, but asset protection. In the old days, people built castles and had armies to protect their wealth. That was their asset protection strategy. Today, there is an easier way. It's almost like asset protection strategies have been kept a secret. Why on earth we are not educated about this at school, I will never know. Financial education is just ignored. And it's not like the know-how is not available. Asset protection strategies like the one we are about to discuss have been around for many, many years. The whole system was developed by the rich and powerful to specifically protect themselves against financial disasters. You, like me, probably hear of such and such a person being declared bankrupt, often many times over. But then you see them on the news, getting out of their expensive limousines or in their opulent homes. And if you think that's bankruptcy, can I have some, please? How this happens is because they have asset protection shielding them from financial disaster. And they live by this hugely important mantra. And that is, control everything, own nothing. Because if you do, you have complete financial control over your life and your assets, and you have nothing to lose. Because quite simply, if you do not own it, you cannot lose it. How good is that? And how annoying and insulting to the rest of us who have been deprived of this essential financial knowledge. It's not like putting an asset protection plan in place requires you to have superhuman skills. It's easy and actually quite simple because it's been around for many years, as I say. It's a proven, legally watertight system that people just like you and me can do easily and simply with the help of an asset protection specialist. What property owners are advised to do, and this is very important, is to put an asset protection strategy in place that takes into account the legislative requirements of their local Australian state or territory, so that it will safeguard them against financial loss in the event of anyone trying to sue them, and even offer protection against losing their home should they face financial hardship. I am going to keep this simple, just to give you the idea. Of course, any in-depth detail is available upon request. Here is what you need. This asset protection structure puts a shield around your equity by utilising a dual trust structure in combination with precise legal documentation. This is done to facilitate the movement of your equity into a completely safe haven that you control, and at the same time removing you from being exposed to any personal risk of financial loss in the event of litigation or bankruptcy. The result is you are now in complete control of your assets and are fully protected. One quick note here is that many people already use a trust structure to hold assets, but a single trust structure will not suffice, as that trust may also run the risk of being sued. This asset protection structure removes exposure to risk completely. There are some outstanding advantages for you in utilising this structure. Advantages that you may not find in other asset protection strategies. It's quite a lengthy list, but we'll go through them. The benefits of this strategy are: asset protection does not involve the sale or transfer of your property. I really do want to stress that. You remain the owner of the property. It does not affect or involve rather the sale or transfer of a property. Therefore, the property stays in your name. You retain your principal place of residence status. There are no stamp duties levied. No effect on capital gains situation. There is no bank involvement. Therefore, there is no additional borrowing. And it's a non-taxation event. It is set and forget. The asset protection strategy offers a property lifetime protection. The asset protection plan will protect the future growth in equity. In other words, you're not just protecting the amount of equity or wealth you have at the moment, you're protecting the growth in that equity into the future. The structure may provide significant personal tax benefits. You, of course, control the trust. That's the whole idea. You control your financial well-being. There are no ongoing costs. Established trust law protects you, and trust laws have been around for a long, long time. The strategy is based on long established legal precedents. Therefore, it is legally watertight and fully compliant with the regulations of each Australian state and territory. In summing up, wealth protection really is a must, not a maybe. You must protect your family home and your personal well-being and your family's well-being. Again, the mantra, just to repeat it, is to own nothing but control everything, because what you don't own can't be taken. I understand that was a quick overview, and you may wish to delve a little deeper into this. If you do, I recommend that you call Ian for a chat. Any such discussions are free, strictly confidential, and without any obligation. This is an extremely important subject, and knowledge is power. So I recommend you take a few moments to learn all you can and take a massive step to preserving your financial well-being. Here is the phone number, and thank you for watching.